In this video, we're going to be replacing a faulty 2-pole 30 amp GFCI circuit breaker. Here is the replacement circuit breaker. What we're going to be replacing is this guy right here. We know there's not a problem in the circuit itself, but this breaker in particular just keeps on tripping. And we've called the manufacturer. They've recommended to replace the breaker. And here's that. Before we proceed, just a disclaimer that I am not a professional electrician, but my knowledge and experience allow me to be able to handle tasks like this. This is not a professional installation guide. And if you are not sure of what you're doing, please let a professional electrician do the work for you. Again, safety first. That's the most important thing. Alright, I've gone ahead and removed the panel cover, and now we see everything that's inside here. One thing that I wanted to show you is this voltage tester. So this is kind of going to explain how you can ensure your safety while doing this kind of work. So these two thick cables here, these are coming from your energy provider. So the power that goes to your house comes from these thick cables over here, and that's your main source. You would also notice that the main switch for the entire home isn't here in this box, so it's probably outside. I'm gonna check outside. I'm sure it's there. That's where I'm gonna turn the power off. But before doing that, I wanted to show you that this is the circuit breaker that we're going to be replacing. It was initially in the trip position. I just switched it back to demonstrate to you that there's live power going through the breaker, because as you would see from the wires that are coming out of the breaker, there's voltage that can be detected through them. So I'm going to use the voltage tester to do that. See, when it turns red, it means there's electricity or current or power that goes through these wires. And definitely the main cables are live as well. So I'm going to switch off the main power and then do another test before we proceed with replacing the breaker. Alright, I'm outside the house and I've located the main switch. It says it right here. So what I'm going to do is just switch this breaker off, and that should cut the power for the entire house. Alright, it's in the off position. Alright, I'm back inside, and we're gonna do another test to make sure that there's really no more power going through the circuits and that it's gonna be safe to proceed. Again, the voltage tester. Alright, it's not turning red anymore. We're safe. The next step would be to remove this breaker here and replace with the new unit. But first, let's understand the connections that are in this breaker. So I think what we can do is just follow what's already been done and then just reposition the wires according to how they are connected to the old breaker and then reconnect them to the new breaker. You would notice that they're kind of a little bit different, but then they have the same terminals. And the pigtail wire here, which is the neutral, the existing breaker that we have also has that, and it just connects to this bus right here. I don't know if you see it, but all of these that are connected on this bus, these are all neutral wires. So that's where this pigtail wire is going to connect to. And then we have these guys that are currently connected to the existing breaker. We're going to connect them in the same way on the new breaker. Alright, the next thing to do would be to pull out the old breaker. There you go. And I accidentally flipped this off. I'm gonna switch it back on. Alright. So we're gonna see and make sure that we connect everything back to the new one. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the wires from the old breaker. Alright, now using the new breaker, I'm gonna reconnect the wires to basically the same position. Just loosening up the screws right now to where the wires are gonna go. Alright, red first. That's enough. What do you get? Alright, let's do the red one. Tighten it up. Like that. And finally that wire. Goes away. Yep. Alright. Before we latch this on to the terminals over there, let's not forget about the pigtail. So what I'm gonna do is stretch this out. And then basically just replace it on this position right here. I'm gonna loosen this up. Take this one off out of there. And then let's get the old one out of the way first. Alright, put it away. I think it's really changing. There you go. Put it away. Put it in there. Loosen it a bit more. There you go. Tighten it up. Alright, and then finally we're gonna be making sure that this latches on to the terminals here. Alright, push. I think that's how far it goes. Then next step would be to test it before we put the cover back on. I'm gonna switch the main power on and then do a test. Alright, switching it back on. Alright, the power's back on. Let's just do some tests. Alright, here's the voltage tester. As you can see, it's turning red. It means there's live power going through the main cables here. And the same goes for our other circuit breakers here. So it's live. However, this new one, it's still in the off position. So there shouldn't be anything going on in these wires. Alright, so now we're gonna flip it to the on position. And it's on. Alright, here's a test. It works. Now you just have to flip it back on. Switch it off first all the way. And then back to the on position. And there you go. That's it. We have successfully replaced the old one with the new circuit breaker. Just do another test to make sure it's turning red. And that should be it.